Hello, I'm Martin Warwick. We are at the Small Cells World Summit 2014 at Excel in London's Docklands, and I'm talking with Peter Jarich of Current Analysis. Peter Jarich, what's the business case for carrier Wi-Fi? Lots of people say there isn't one.
So I think the answer is no. There is no one business case, because the reality is there's a bunch of different use cases, right? So for some operators, the business case is going to be very simple: offload. Let's get network off my cellular network, I'm going to save money, right? For others, it may be about improving customer experience. How do I improve customer experience, decrease churn, make my users happier? I'm not going to make more money on them, but I'm not going to lose them, right? A penny saved is a penny earned. For others, it will be about making money, right? And that could be making money either by charging people for it or leveraging it for specific applications. So I think when we think about carrier Wi-Fi, it's tough because we tend to think of it as one big thing, but it's really multiple different business models, each of which are going to be appropriate for a different type of operator.
So how is Wi-Fi being used by telcos, especially alongside small cells?
So I think there is a question, right, as we roll out small cell networks, of what is the role of carrier Wi-Fi? Do we have small cells that integrate Wi-Fi? Are they separate products? I think how carriers are using it now, though, separate from how they're deploying their small cell networks, number of ways, right? Some of them are leveraging it just to keep their customers happy, right? Become a customer of mine, you get access to my Wi-Fi network, great. Some are trying to figure out, how do we leverage this internationally, right? So how do we leverage this when you're abroad? Is this a way to, we don't quite have LTE roaming, we know roaming charges are not where they want to be, at least for the end user, so how do I make this a cheaper roaming? I think what's really interesting is carrier Wi-Fi is being leveraged by a number of carriers sort of as a land grab. Think about some of these major venues, right? Stadiums, malls, airports. Who can get there first? Who can use Wi-Fi as a way to get in there? And then control that venue so that when other folks, other operators want to be a part of that, they have to go through that gatekeeper. So I think you're really seeing the operators look at this as not just offload, but the multitude of ways that they can look at that. And that doesn't even include the way operators are looking at it in terms of serving up ads, serving up specific applications. So it's really a whole menu of ways to use it.
How can Wi-Fi be used, do you think, to drive new revenue channels?
Yeah, and that's a great question, because we always see this. Yes, offload's great. Offload's about saving money. Retention is great. Retention's about saving money. But I think that we've seen this traditionally, that saving money isn't sexy. Right, saving money doesn't get investment. Going to your board and saying, I want $100 million to help save some money, it ain't gonna work, right? You need to have this, how do I make some more money? So I think you're seeing this in a number of ways, right? One is that, can I gain new customers because I have a great Wi-Fi network, right? Can I use this as a way to say, you know what, you're gonna churn from that other operator, come over to me, I've got this great Wi-Fi network, right? Are there new features, right? We see a lot of Wi-Fi calling going on, right? Can Wi-Fi calling be used to get people to come to my network because now I have some new capabilities? Beyond that, I think we're seeing a lot of interesting models around whether it's ads or applications where it's a bit more complex because it's not the straight B2C, it's not the straight operator to consumer business model, but in terms of a B2B to C business model where the service provider works with an enterprise, works with someone in a vertical market, whether it's retail, whether it's healthcare, whether it's education, whoever it is, to help build out that Wi-Fi network, that they can serve their constituency, that the carrier can benefit from. And then if there's a data component that can be leveraged. Some of the stuff, the thinking that's going on in retail right now, where retailers are using the Wi-Fi network to get analytics around their user base, footfall traffic, where are people going, where are they coming from, what are they spending time on, just more information about their users, that a carrier can be part of that value chain. That's, I think, where we're seeing some interesting models. And it's scary. Anytime you're talking big data, anytime you're talking about leveraging user data, there's trepidation. But I think that's where you're seeing some really innovative business models of how do you see those partnerships and how is that data leveraged.
And how can carrier Wi-Fi be used to leverage the mobile roaming experience?
I think from a mobile roaming perspective, you really are, it's the question that comes down to is where are people going to be using this? and where can you deliver that experience, right? So anywhere people are going to be congregating, anywhere where there's a lot of traffic, I think is critical. But it's also just the use case. Again, international roaming where the prices are high. But I think the question of where's the best use case is where there is that return, right? And I think the retailers understand this, and that's why you see a big focus on retail, because they understand that consumer data analytics side of things, and so that's where you're seeing a lot of the interest. But any of those verticals that are really high value verticals, you think about transportation, right? You think about healthcare, places where there's an extra layer of value that can be added. I think that's critical. And this example is not new, but you look at some of the work that someone like Cisco did, right? Cisco working with AT&T, where they went in to a museum. Let's use the Wi-Fi network to find out user location, deliver up a service based around that location that can then enhance the user experience. Here's the exhibit you're seeing, but at the same time meet that venue-specific needs, right? Which is, hey, you should go see this exhibit. If you liked this one, you should go see that exhibit. People don't realize this. Each of those exhibits are paid for, right? So to get that ROI, you want to make sure people are constantly seeing all of those, right? Or at the end of the day going, great, you've seen all these exhibits, you should go to the gift shop and we'll give you a 15% discount if you want to go buy something in the gift shop around one of these exhibits. Or, you know what, you're hungry, go to the cafeteria right now, we'll give you 20% off, because you know what, we know there's no one in the cafeteria. So if I can serve up that user experience to you and say, hey, right now, while I've got your attention, go there, better utilize, again, that ROI perspective, better utilize my resources. I think any of those cases where there are people that have an asset they want to monetize, you can look at Wi-Fi in a way to help do that.
And finally, how's the technology for carrier Wi-Fi being developed and improved?
So I mean, it's interesting because you can think about that in terms of Wi-Fi. You can think of that in terms of products or solutions, right? From a product perspective, the standards are evolving, the products are evolving. We get new access points. AC is getting out there, 802.11 AC, and that's great. I think what's more interesting is really in terms of the solutions. What's taking place with things like next generation hotspot? What's taking place with the slow but gradual improvement of things like ANDSF and the acceptance of ANDSF? So I think more broadly you're seeing those solutions come around which will improve that experience, but give operators another tool to help drive their Wi-Fi business models. And I think that's much more interesting than any of the solution.
Fascinating stuff. Peter Jarich, thanks very much.
Thank you.